So for sequence modeling, the earliest successful models were recurrent neural networks or RNNs. The idea behind RNNs is actually very elegant. You process one input at a time and you carry forward a hidden state. The hidden state acts as memory. So at every time step, the model updates its understanding of the sequence. But there was a major problem. RNNs are extremely bad at modeling long-term dependencies. You can think of them as very forgetful. As sequences become longer, the gradients either vanish or explode. So information from far back in the sequence slowly disappears. Even if something important happened 20 or 30 steps ago, the model struggles to remember it. And that is why long short-term memory or LSTM was introduced. Instead of hoping that long-term memory survives to recurrence, LSTM builds long-term memory directly into the model. Now, what makes LSTM different? Each LSTM cell has two main states, a hidden state and a cell state. And you can think of the hidden state going down below as the controller of the LSTM and the cell state as a conveyor belt or a highway that runs from the beginning of the sequence to the end. This conveyor belt is extremely important, as you can see here. Information can flow along it with very little modification, and along that way we can add information, remove information and filter information. That is the key mechanism. And today we are going to discuss exactly how that happens. Also, this is important because LSTMs might actually make a comeback in recent years. Even though transformers replaced them in many areas, newer variants like XLSTM, SLSTM and MLSTM suggest renewed interest. So understanding this deeply still matters. Now structurally we have an LSTM block. This block is repeated across time. An important clarification is it is not physically repeated. It is the same block reused again and again at different time steps. The weights are shared. So at time step t, we use the same LSTM block as at of time step t minus 1. This is what makes it recurrent. Now let's go step by step inside the block. So the first thing we should decide is what information should we throw away. To do that, we take xt, the current input, and ht minus 1, the previous hidden state, and we combine them, as you can see here. Now remember, all these blue boxes you see in the diagram are just small neural networks. So we have 4 neural networks. And the circles, as you can see here, 5 circles, these represent point-wise operations like element-wise addition or multiplication. For the forget gate, we pass xt and ht minus 1 through a neural network with the sigmoid activation function. Why sigmoid? Because sigmoid outputs values between 0 and 1. 0 means completely forget. 1 means keep everything. Values in between mean partially forget. So the model carefully decides what parts of the cell state should be removed. And for example, imagine we are reading a story. We were talking about one subject. Suddenly, the story shifts to a new subject. The model should forget the old context, and that is what the forget gate does. It filters the previous cell state using element-wise multiplication. And next, we have now that we have decided what to remove, we need to decide what new information should we store. Again, we take the current input xt and the previous hidden state ht minus 1, and from these we create candidate values. To create candidate values, we use a tanh activation. Why tanh? Because tanh outputs values between -1 and +1. So it allows both positive and negative information. These candidate values represent new potential memory. But we cannot just store everything. So we introduce another gate. Again, we use a sigmoid function. This sigmoid gate decides how much of the candidate values we should actually store. So now we have candidate values from tanh and a filter from sigmoid. We multiply them element wise. Now we have filtered new information that is ready to be added to the cell state. Now comes the beautiful part. How do we update the conveyor belt? We do two things. We forget some old information and we add some new filtered information. Mathematically, we previous cell state is multiplied by the previous cell state is multiplied by the forget gate, and we add candidate values multiplied by the input gate. So we subtract a little bit here and we add a little bit here. The highway keeps flowing. This is the key reason LSTM avoids the vanishing gradient problem. And if you are familiar with ResNet architecture or residual connections in computer vision, it is just the same idea. We create a direct highway from the input to the output using these skip connections, but here we use a cell state for that purpose. So next, we must decide what should be output, and the cell state contains a lot of information, but we do not want to expose everything. So again, we take xt and ht minus 1 and pass them through a sigmoid gate, and this gives us output gating values. Then we take the cell state and pass it, we take the cell state here and pass it through a tanh, and this is actually element wise tanh. Why? Because we want to squash it between -1 and +1 before exposing it. Then we multiply tanh times the cell state times the output gate value. This produces new hidden state ht, and that hidden state moves to the next time step and it is also being output. So this architecture is extremely powerful because memory is explicitly modeled, long-term dependencies are preserved, gradients flow more easily, and everything is contained in two compact states. Even though transformers have replaced LSTMs in many large-scale applications, LSTMs have lower memory complexity, lower inference cost, a compact state representation, and there's no need to compute full attention matrices, which are extremely memory intensive and expensive. So transformers are powerful because of their representational capacity, but in contrast, LSTMs are extremely efficient.